Every year in June for about the last 10 years or so, I usually head up to Maine to photograph and film loons. And I didn't think I was going to get there this year, but fortunately some plans had fallen through and I was able to sneak in a quick trip up to Maine where my friend Ray Yeager and his wife Sharon were gracious enough to host me for a few days. And I was able to not miss a year with the loons, so I was very excited about that. So in this video today, I'm just going to talk about kind of some of my thoughts or tips about the way that I photograph and film loons. And I want to talk about my experience, especially with the Canon R1 this year. One of my goals was to focus more on photos this year, as over the especially the last 5 years, I've spent just way too much time filming and recording video. So I kind of wanted to get back to the roots, if you want to call it that, and be kind of more of a photographer on this trip. So first, let's talk about the R1. As I mentioned, I have been photographing and filming these loons for a pretty long time now, even going back to my Nikon days, then transitioning to Canon with my R5 and my R3. And those cameras, all the ones that have had eye tracking, have pretty much always found the head of the loons. Loons have very dark eyes, so, there were times in the right light it would find them. But what I noticed immediately right off the bat, if you watch this video, keep in mind too, I'm holding my camera with one hand, I'm holding my phone to record this with the other. The eye focus was locked on. I mean, almost all the time it was locked on to one of the birds. I was really blown away with how often it actually found the eye. As you can see here, even with multiple birds. In this scene, I'm using a full frame tracking. I wasn't using a zone, so it's jumping back and forth. But the fact that it's finding the eyes on both birds is pretty awesome. So again, that was the biggest takeaway for me with the R1 over every other camera of any system that I've used in the past. So next we'll talk about technique, especially when filming video. This is pretty much all I do. It's nothing fancy. The camera just sits on my lap. Usually my left hand is under the lens for a little extra stability. I don't like it resting directly on the kayak for the same reason that I don't like tripods or anything fixed to the kayak when possible, because all of that rocking is going to be absorbed by the camera. So as I'm hand holding, I can kind of counteract the up and down motion or the side to side motion of the boat and keep things extra steady. So most of the time I'm holding the camera right down to the water level. I really like that low angle. Again, nothing super fancy here. There are times too as well, depending on the situation, where I will pick the camera up to my eye, just like a standard handheld, technique here, nothing crazy. But again, what I'm trying to do is really focus on the motion of the boat. I really kind of want to be like a gimbal or a gyro and just counteract all of that. As far as recording video too, and audio I should say, I always use the Rode VideoMic Pro. I've been using that for like 7 years now. All of my audio lately is with that microphone. Even though I have different, much higher end external recording capabilities, I'm a huge fan of the Rode VideoMic Pro. If you haven't seen my other videos on this channel, check them out. Big fan of that microphone. So once again, as I mentioned, I really wanted to focus a lot more on photos this year. And looking again at the R1 here, another thing that I was very happy with is loons are a very contrasty bird, very bright white chest, dark heads. I wanted to see how the dynamic range of the R1 did. And I'm doing a very kind of like over the top edit here, but just to kind of show you what this was capable of. I mean, it really kept the detail in the shadows for loons that don't have much feather detail in their heads, same at their chest. I mean, that's really good in my opinion, to be able to save all of that highlights in the chest and the shadows or the darks in the head. Just did a great job here. And again, I kind of underexposed a little bit. I was more focused on the chest, but turned out great. The pictures were super sharp. I shot everything with the Canon 100 to 500 millimeter lens. Love it. And one little cool thing, my photo was on the Acadia National Park pass this year, along with my name. So super excited to get to see that, even though they still charged me for it, which was pretty lame, but that's the government. What are you gonna do? Okay, my top tip for filming from a kayak is really focusing on your horizons. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about this, but as you're filming, it's very, very important to be conscious of where your horizons are going, especially when the water looks like this. It's easier when it's calm. So what I tend to do is, I'm always if you have a Nikon, you can leave the virtual horizon on, or the virtual level if you have one. Sony and Canon, I don't think you can. Canon, I know you can. I'm not sure about Sony. But in any case, my biggest tip is if you start to lose the horizon and it rocks one way, just let it go and try to keep it, even if it's crooked, just keep it at that plane that it's at, even if it's off level. And the reason for that is it's easier to fix one off level horizon than it is to fix a horizon that's rocking back and forth. It can be fixed, but it's really tedious and it's really a pain to do. So again, if you start to lose the horizon, just let it go and keep it at that. Another bonus for me, again, 10 years straight now, this makes photographing the barred owls of Acadia National Park. Super excited to see them again. And this year, I got some okay photos, but the reverse with the owls, I wanted to focus more on video, and I got some great sounds of them calling each other. All right, lastly, let's talk about the thing that I think everybody's afraid of when it comes to kayaks and camera gear, and that, of course, is flipping. So for starters, number one, I always have a dry bag, and that is where I keep my extra batteries, memory cards, and all that kind of stuff, not necessarily for the camera. To be honest with you, as long as you have a decent kayak and you're not rotating yourself too far side to side, as long as you're focused on keeping things in front of you, it's actually very difficult to flip a kayak. Now, where you're going to see flipping tends to happen the most is getting in and getting out of the kayak. So that's where you really want to be careful. Maybe have somebody hand you your camera or keep it on the ground till you get in if you can. And then the other most important thing to remember when it comes to loons is they're very territorial. So unless you're like my friend Ray here, who is out every day with these loons and they're very, very comfortable with them, keep your distance. I have seen them, penguin dance people, and they do have a lot of tells. If they're calling at you like this, then you're definitely too close. So back up. It's also good to have a rain cover. You never know when you're going to get stuck in random storms like this. Multiple times I've been out there when the weather was not calling for rain. Even this day, it was not calling for any kind of storms like this, and we just got absolutely pounded once we got out there. So rain covers are always a good thing to have as well. You just never know. But all in all, that's kind of my quick synopsis of this recent trip, my experience with the R1, photographing loons. Hopefully you found some kind of benefit out of all of this and enjoyed the video. And thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.